Hello, and welcome to the Fresh Air Show. What is up, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Fresh Air Show.
Oh,
Well, I did say last time that we would have a special guest, but they haven't responded yet, so just gonna have to improvise. So, yeah.
It's just a ghost who never lies.
shit.
Yeah.
Except
Maybe
we're the
next
only
time.
ones who can hear him and see him.
Yeah. So, how have you guys been since the last podcast?
Pretty good.
Hmm.
Pretty good.
Same as usual.
Well, I've been continuing to watch through movies this year in terms of the lineup, and yeah, I saw the live-action Lion King movie.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, off the bat, let me tell you, the visuals are stunning.
Yeah.
Cause
I've heard.
Yep. I've been to Africa 3 times, and everywhere I looked, I thought, yep, that's Africa. So, yeah. Yeah, I personally thought also that the performances were pretty good. Like, the kids who played young Nala and Simba, along with Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen being a great Timon and Pumbaa. So,
Good on them.
yeah. So what are your thoughts on it, Dudley?
Well, I've seen it twice,
Oh.
and I definitely think it comes close. There was a point in the film where I said to myself, "Am I actually thinking about whether I like this more than the original or not?" And then a couple of seconds later, I decided, I'll tell you what, the original is better by a marginal difference. I'll give it that, because it's nostalgia, obviously.
Yeah.
Here comes the hate.
Hmm. So, what, Ryan, I do agree with that point you brought up a number of podcasts ago. Now, yes, the animals look super realistic, but that also adds to the problem that many people have with it. The lack of physical emotion.
And that isn't even really an excuse, because from in Narnia, Aslan was able to emote quite nicely, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, because although Aslan, he is a CG character, but he's stylized enough for him to express emotion.
But still realistic enough that you think, that's a real lion doing real emotions.
Yeah. Because this live-action Lion King movie, it was made by the same person who made the live-action Jungle Book movie. And, yeah, I did think he would have been the best choice for it, but, in the Jungle Book, the animals, again, had a certain style to them. But in this... Hey, Edward. Right in the face again.
Why? My cat is nudging at the tablet and getting all up in the camera. Stop, cat.
He's like,
So if
this
you're
is what
random-
emotion looks like.
Yeah.
So if you hear us randomly laughing, you now know why.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, the animals in the Jungle Book have a style to them that makes them somewhat emotional. But in this, they normally just have 2 expressions. Either it's a blank stare, or it's slight...
Wide-eyed blank stare.
Or slight shock, basically.
Wide-eyed blank stare.
See, I liked the live action Jungle Book, so when I heard the same guy was doing Lion King, I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
And watching this film, it's obvious they've clearly gone for more realism. Like, the reason you don't see the facial expressions is because animals wouldn't actually do those facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some
In pursuit
people...
of realism, they lost the magic. if you
Yeah.
ask.
Well, this film is like it's. I think it's a case of you either love it or you hate it. A lot of people I hear a lot of people giving it praise, and then there's a load of critics giving it bad reviews.
Yeah.
Some people say the voice acting saves the lack of emotion. Some people say it doesn't. I think there's a point in the film where Simba is, when Simba's stuck on the branch in the stampede, and then Mufasa comes along.
Mm-hmm.
In the original animated one, Simba looks scared and he doesn't see Mufasa coming. Mufasa just leaps and saves him.
Mm.
And in this one, you see that cute little Simba face seeing his daddy coming to save him, like an actual baby kitten would look when its mother was coming round the corner. And it hit hard, in my opinion. Yeah. I thought it just catches the realistic animal.
Yeah, Dudley, you are allowed to go into spoiler territory because it's story-wise, it's practically the exact same movie. Now, it does have its ups and downs. Like, the stampede scene, I think, actually hurts a lot more because, when Scar sends Mufasa to his doom, in the original, he, grabs his paws and just hurls him off. In this version, it literally...
He just punches him in the face.
Yeah, he literally swipes him in the face just to get him to let go. And it's like, oh, God.
More hurtful, but also less, emotional, because when Scar grabs him, it's, with claws, so he's pinning him in place and could save him, but in a very painful way. And then he just leans in close and is like, long.
Yes. I really do like...
tosses him off. You get that close-up of Mufasa's eyes as he realizes, oh God, my brother's about to kill me.
Yeah.
And he tosses him off, and there's just that moment of betrayal. But for me, this scene doesn't have as much impact because it's like, long live the king. Punch.
Yeah. I admit the original one is stronger. But there's a couple of things they've gone into. The fact that they've tried to make them more realistic and added little details here, like when Simba's trying to wake Mufasa up when he's actually dead, he paws at him like an animal would to try and wake another animal up. And I imagine if in real life a lion had another lion stuck on the cliff like that, they would smack the other one in the face. But the way Scar does it, it's still not as effective.
Yeah.
But there's that. Even though the film is almost exactly the same as the original, they have added little differences here and there that I really like. For instance, in the old one, remember Scar knocks Zazu out, and then goes down there, kills Mufasa, doesn't kill Simba there, and has the hyenas chase him off through maybe, I don't know, because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, or who knows what, after he's already killed Mufasa. But I always thought the reason was, if Zazu happens to wake up and come back, he'd be a witness seeing what Scar was up to. So it seems like a small plot hole. Whereas in this one, Scar sends Zazu off to get Nala and the rest of the prides, and they added little details like that where you think,
that was clever.
Oh, that was a nice addition.
I suppose filling of plot holes is always a good thing, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to my friend the other day, there's a point in the new one where Timon and Pumbaa, there's a 2-minute scene where they're pretty much destroying the Circle of Life mythos to Simba by saying, oh, the Circle of Life doesn't exist, it's just a line, you start, you live, you die, and all that stuff. But the clever thing, so it makes them almost dislikable, but they do it purposely because the scene has every little action they do helping out another animal without them realising they're doing it. Like Simba will push a termite mound over to stretch, and then all the other animals will rush in to get insects and stuff like that. So I don't think there's anything in the film that kills the story, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs. Like, one of the best ups that I remember regarding what I said about the Timon and Pumbaa of this version, you know that scene in the original when Timon, near the end, where Timon and Pumbaa need to distract the hyenas? They have a scene like that in this version. I won't dare spoil it here, but let's just say if you are going to see it, it will still catch you off guard.
Oh, it was. Some people feel like the funniest scene in the film, and without spoiling it, maybe it's better than the other reimagining, so to speak.
So, yeah.
I'll say one other thing. There is one complaint that, although I can live with it, when I was getting to the end of the film, I thought we needed Ed in the film. Because Ed, yeah, exactly. The others are fine, I don't mind, but we needed some Ed. That would have been awesome.
All we needed was just one hyena laughing his head off, and yeah.
Adding absolutely nothing else is going as well.
Yeah. You know, just to kind of end this segment off, I kind of compare this movie to the 101 Dalmatians movie and its live-action remake. Heck, that's probably the one that started it all. Now, there are some elements in the live-action version that are lost, and there are new elements that in a few cases, make it better. Like, for instance, one of the things lost in the live-action 101 Dalmatians is that the animals don't talk. But they're real animals, like they're trained dogs and horses and cats, etc. And one of the ups of that movie is Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil.
The best bit of the movie.
She is just insane as Cruella, but it somehow works. So, yeah, just putting that out there. Some people like it, some people will turn to the original, but I just think it's, as a test of skills, the live-action Lion King I thought was visually amazing.
Yeah, it'll take a lot of time for me to find something cuter than Baby Simba in that opening scene, because by God, that was cute.
But wait a minute. If all the sets and the animals are still CGI, does it technically count as an animated movie?
It was, I guess, if the backgrounds were... Yeah, I guess because the locations weren't real, so I guess the whole thing is an animated movie.
Because Animat brought this up, one of my favourite reviewers brought this up in his review of it, and it's like, there's no live-action humans, so does this technically count as animated still?
Yes.
Well, there's some people out there calling it the live-action Lion King because so far all these Disney remakes have been live-action. But I don't think I've heard Disney actually calling it the live-action Lion King, so...
This is the only other thing they can think to call it.
Alright. You're listening to The Fresh Air Show. Well, in terms of live-action movies that have gotten the internet somewhat angry, one of them that was announced this year looks...
has been very angry!
Yeah. Now, if you thought Sonic the Hedgehog looked horrifying in live action, you have absolutely nothing on Cats the Movie.
Everyone on Tumblr is up in arms about this movie.
Now,
It's,
for those
and
of
for
you,
good reason.
yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the stage show, basically, it's about a group of alley cats in a major city, and they're all played by humans, because apparently it's easier to train a human than an actual cat.
Or just animate a cat.
And now, you think, oh, we're making a movie. Why don't we go for real cats this time? Nope. They go for Uncanny Valley CG human-looking cat hybrids. And as a furry, I find it deeply uncomfortable.
The furries deserve better. The furries deserve better! The animation industry could really benefit from having a few furries on the crew. They know what the people want. They know.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the first 5 seconds of the trailer, I thought it was made for the furries. But then,
Look, I may be a furry, but even I have my limits.
There's only so much we can do.
But by the end of the trailer, I thought, I kind of want to see this. And then I thought, I bet it comes out in December. And it comes out in December. So.
Yeah, but let's. I mean, I get it. I get the design because they want to make it look somewhat like the costumes of the stage play, but I don't know.
Just give them costumes.
I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure cats don't walk around on 2 legs with human faces.
Well, it looks like it's part of one of those films which is like Moulin Rouge or The Greatest Showman or Les Miserables, stuff like that. It's just a live-action tribute to the things, but they never usually get high praise by the end of it, do they?
Well, a select few examples are out there, and one of which I do kind of want to talk about for this argument here. Now, are both of you aware of the stage show War Horse?
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Basically, a man falls in love with his pet horse, but they get separated by the First World War, and eventually they have to find each other, etc.
By fall in love, you mean platonically, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like how
thank goodness.
It's like how any person likes their pets.
Well, okay. You have to go and get the film on DVD and watch it. It is breathtaking. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I'll do that if I remember.
Yeah. Now, let's say, for the sake of this argument, they haven't made a Warhorse movie yet. And they Now, in the original stage show, the horses are represented by these large puppets, controlled by at least 3 people. Two of them in the legs, and one of them is holding up the head, right?
Cool.
Now, let's say they decided to take the same direction that cats did. Let's say the horses are all represented by a human holding up their head, and they're just... And when they're charging into battle, imagine that they're just hopping around, like, on both legs, just trying to keep up. It would just look awkward as heck. Well, I don't know about you, but again, I don't remember horses being born with 8 legs and a human fused to their head with a metal pole.
I'm half expecting a live-action Cat in the Hat to appear in this film.
Oh, God. And I thought that was scary.
Whereas they could have gone with an animated film, like made the cats anthropomorphic, like Tom from Tom and Jerry, or the cats in Cats Don't Dance, or something like that. But obviously, I guess maybe the logic was, the fans won't want it to be cartoony, they want it to look live action, and so that's what they've...
Yeah, but why not go for somewhat animated cats? Like, are there humans visible in this trailer? Like, genuinely scaled up humans?
Oh, yeah, they showed one guy walking out of a door making these cats the height of, like, a television screen that was stood up against a wall or something.
God. If there's ever any...
The only thing I know about this movie is that one picture of the cat with a knife and fork looking like it's about to murder somebody.
Jeez.
And enjoy it immensely.
Jeez, but if the human and cat interactions in this are going to be so uncomfortable, it's like... I don't want... I don't want to think about it. It's just awkward.
Well, from the trailer, you see a guy walk out of the room without showing his face or maybe his upper half, so maybe the humans just get acknowledged that way and we don't see any interaction, so maybe there won't be any nightmare fuel there.
God. It's just... I'm gonna have to... I think I need a minute. Alright, I'm actually gonna stop there for a moment.
You are listening to the Fresh Air Show.
Well, It's time for everyone's favourite segment, the month's most ridiculous headlines.
Boom, boom, boom.
Alright.
What
My
madness will we get up to this time?
My Morst musical intro to that so far.
Yeah. Alright. Now, in this month's news, we're going to tell you probably the most ridiculous headline that's come up this year. Now, you all know what I'm talking about. Here it is. 470,000 people are planning to storm Area 51.
Meme.
uh,
A meme that I'm not sure is actually a meme.
my cousin summed this up to me the other day. All these people want to raid Area 51. What are the military going to do? That's it.
Oh,
They can't stop all of us.
Now, apparently, this is actually going to happen on September the 20th, I think.
We did give them a date to prepare to.
Yeah.
Now, what? Aren't you people aware that if you get within at least 2 miles of the place, you get shot?
Yeah, go for something a bit more useful to go after, like all those ice facilities.
Oh. So,
Let's not get that.
yeah. So, apparently, a bunch of people want to storm Area 51 to finally figure out what they're up to. Whether it be aliens or just advanced technology.
It is something. It brings up the thing, like, if we go our whole lives and the Earth, people of the Earth keep secrets from you your entire life and you don't know the big picture, everybody wants to find out what the secrets are. Like, is it fair that they keep that knowledge from us, or when the aliens invade, we get even more shocked because we didn't know they existed?
Yeah. Maybe they're guarding something that shouldn't see the light of day. Like, maybe that's what will cause the zombie outbreak of the apocalypse that's been brought up in countless media.
Maybe it's the 12-headed dragon.
Oh, God.
It grew an extra one since last month?
Yes.
Oh, God, the 11-headed dragon. It's... Oh.
Now 12, but they grew an extra one.
Mm.
Probably from all the genetic experiments that's been going on down there.
Oh, jeez. Now, I am definitely not taking part in this raid, because...
You can't afford to go there.
No, it's the simple fact that I want to live my life without 30-something bullets riddled in my chest. Now, if you're seriously planning on running Naruto style up to Area 51, don't come crying to us when half of your forces are in coffins. Alright, now for something a little bit more lighthearted. A Madagascar musical is now available to see.
What, Madagascar, as in Alex the Lion? And
yeah, as in a stage play that people can witness.
So we've got them making a movie out of cats, and now they've taken Madagascar and they've changed it into a musical, which is probably going to get a live-action movie made out of Madagascar in 10 years' time.
You know, that's kind of brought up something I was meaning to talk about during our Lion King rant. A word of advice for filmmakers: don't try to fix and improve something unless you know it needs fixing and improving. 'Cause one movie that I've wanted to talk about all this year is the live-action Dumbo, made by Tim Burton.
I didn't even watch that. I was not...
I haven't seen it either.
Neither have I, but I was... Let's face it, the original animated Dumbo has not aged well in the past century, has it? Because you've got a crow being represented by a white man do a very questionable black man accent, and then there's the Rustabouts song. Now, I was more, because that movie hasn't aged well, I was openly accepting of this remake because I know that it'll be more suitable for our modern day audiences. And from the looks of things in the trailers, everyone seems to be treated fairly equally, and there's no talking crows. So I was more accepting of that, even though I've not seen it yet. But you know what I mean. Don't fix something unless you know it needs fixing and improving.
I guess I have to go back to Lion King here, but Lion King is the one film that I thought, if they did make a shot-by-shot remake and made everything look real, I'd probably still go and see it, because just to see how it would look. But I reckon it's different enough that it isn't entirely the same as the original, so just as a heads up to people.
Yeah.
But I heard Dumbo has got more focus on animal cruelty than it did in the old one, so yay, more mean-spiritedness and depression for kids.
Well, I'll probably look into it at some point, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But anyway, back to the month's headlines. Okay. Here's the next one. Reports are coming in of drunk seagulls vomiting on people, falling off buildings, and flying into vehicles.
Oh dear.
Really? Seagulls are getting drunk?
That, I think...
Is this like in Scotland or is it in America?
In the UK, basically.
Okay.
It's probably all
I
the
can believe.
It's probably all the beer-battered cod.
Beer-battered cod. Oh boy. Jeez, that could make sense. Because developing a taste for alcohol and alcohol-soaked fish. Jeez, in Scotland, I could see that making sense because Scotland's famous for whiskey, and now seagulls are getting drunk off the stuff, and oh god.
I want to make a meme now where all the seagulls in Finding Nemo aren't saying mine, mine, mine. They're saying wine, wine, wine.
Brilliant. Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to be spared both seagull plop nuts and seagull vomiting, then keep your booze to yourself.
Yep.
Or buy your umbrellas here at Fresh Powder.
Yeah. Alright. And finally, the last headline that I have is this. Frankie Zapata, a fly-boarding Frenchman, has crossed the English Channel.
Oh.
So, apparently, this Frenchman has used a flyboard. Basically, it shoots water down into the ocean and basically acts as a jetpack's water-themed cousin, I guess. And he used it to cross the English Channel somehow. So, yeah.
So the hoverboards arrived 3 years later than Back to the Future predicted.
Well, a hoverboard didn't really need water to propel itself off the ground. At least that's what we can see. So yeah.
That's kind of awesome. So it's full of water, and it had enough water in it to get them across the water. Is that how it worked?
I'm not too sure. I think every so often it like dives towards the ocean and sort of refills itself, and then just shoots more of it out. So, but the English Channel, that's something I've heard about but never really looked into. Is that like the stretch of ocean between Britain and France?
Maybe.
I like.
I'm not a geographer.
I like the fact that none of you know either.
Oh, this is gonna be embarrassing. Okay, any geographers out there, if they want to teach us what the English Channel is,
It's probably just the local stream. Like he flew like 5 feet. Oh God, I'm sorry, Frankie Zapata. Like, let us know how far you traveled, and we'll praise you then. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were right. English Channel, also simply called the Channel, is the body of water that separates southern England from northern France.
Ah,
Okay.
nice.
So we were thinking along the right lines.
Yeah.
That's good. So yeah, do you reckon he had like a camera crew with him, or do you think he was like all on his own, like just flying over the ocean?
Certainly hope he had a camera crew, because otherwise no one's ever going to believe him.
Yeah. No, he had a selfie stick. And the green screen. No.
Yeah. Like, I can just imagine him like arriving at whatever location he was heading to, like he just emerges from the ocean, emerging on his little board like Magneto or something, just. So yeah, those are the month's headlines.
Okay.
I'm Randy Newman, and you're listening to the Fresh Air Show. I'm Randy Newman.
Well, to end this podcast off, I'd like to personally say that we are planning a lot of things in September. So, yeah, all three of us will be heading to Comic-Con.
Yes.
Yeah, all three of us heading to Comic-Con. All three of us in one place for the first time. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be taking a hour and a half flight out to you to stay down there. So wish me happy travels, people, because I haven't been on a plane since I was 3.
Oh boy, that'll
Try
bring
and
up.
book yourself an aisle seat if you can.
I've already booked a window seat. I thought I'm going to be brave. I'm going to have.
It'll definitely bring up some stories for the next podcast. Now, should we talk about our cosplays now? Just to let people know what to somewhat expect.
I'd still like to keep mine a surprise until the big unveiling.
Right.
But, when I get there, if that's okay.
Well, we sort of developed the idea of a group cosplay originally, where I use my costume of Boris the Wolf from Bendy and the Ink Machine. Like, that's coming out for one last year, so yeah. And Rowan, you are potentially going as Alice Angel.
Yeah, I figured it would be a nice theme for us.
Yeah, and as soon as those two cosplay ideas came up, we just knew this. If Dudley goes as Bendy, it'll be perfect. But chances are you'll be going as something else, right?
Yeah, for this instance, I felt like if I was gonna go as a character, Boris would have suited me more because I'm the tall, lanky one, I guess, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I'm the tallest. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you definitely are.
So I thought, it will be the first Comic Con that I've gone to. I've only been to one before, but I didn't dress up in that one. So I thought it'd be fitting to also go in something a little more practical for me to make, for one thing, and also something close to my heart.
All right, and even we don't know what it is, so you'll find out by the next one. But Comic-Con, it's the Disney World for geeks, basically. So
yeah. There's going to be the actor who played Red Skull in Endgame. There's going to be the guy who voiced Wacko Warner. I feel bad for misremembering his name.
From Animaniacs, yes.
Crash, yeah. And Tara Sands, who voiced Richie in Pokemon. Just lots of guests I'm looking forward to seeing down there.
Yeah. I haven't actually had plans to meet any of the special guests because the last time I went, I got a photo opportunity with Sylvester McCoy.
Cool.
Now, for those of you who don't know who he is, basically, he's the person who plays the seventh version of the Doctor, along with Radagast the Brown from the Hobbit movies. And I distinctly remember I as soon as I went side by side with him to take the picture, I just immediately went into this weird, nervous celebrity voice. Like, you've probably heard it before, like, when you get so nervous, you just end up going, "Hello, how are you?" Because I couldn't talk in any other voice. That's literally just what came out. Just, "Hello." Because it was just a mix of nervousness and, oh my god, I get to meet this guy.
Me and my brother met Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker, and one of the other doctors down at Bournemouth Comic Con. And we wanted to say hello, even though we couldn't afford an autograph from him. So he folded his walking stick so it looked like the end of like a shotgun barrel or something, and said, "Just go and rob a bank, and then you'll have enough money to have an autograph." I was like, oh my god, Sylvester McCoy's encouraging us to rob a bank. That's kind of awesome.
Jesus Christ. Because a lot of the celebrities do have quite a good sense of humour. Like, I remember there was one video I saw with Peter Capaldi, otherwise known as the 12th version of the Doctor, and he was at a panel somewhere, and he was taking a drink, and he ended up choking on it, and as he stopped choking, he just quietly spoke into his microphone and said, "Nearly regenerated there." Yeah, because the Doctors regenerate when they're close to dying, so it's funny because it's true.
When I had a picture with a guy who was in the suit as Darth Vader in the Star Wars films, so obviously not James Earl Jones because he voiced Darth Vader, but and we were told we had to like rest our hand on his shoulder for the picture. Well, actually, I think I was first in line or something. I don't know, so it got a bit confusing. But I tried, so I put my hand on his right shoulder, and he was telling me, "No, you've got to put it on my left," essentially. And it was like it felt like he was telling me off, and I was like, "He's going to force choke me in my sleep tonight, isn't he?"
Oh, God.
I feel really bad now.
But either way, Comic-Con this year is going to be huge because I know so many people from my life that I know who's going to be there, and then there's you guys coming, so yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, hopefully we get to meet you all down there. This will be the first time I'm meeting Rowan as well, so that'll be cool as well.
And I, with you guys all being there, it'll be a particular surprise for one of my friends because he's a regular watcher of Fresh vs. Snake Staff, and let's just say when you get there, he's probably going to pass out like, "Oh my god, it's you!"
Oh, that's going to be funny. Can you disclose this friend?
Let's just say,
Has he commented on our videos before?
no, but
No?
I am gonna acknowledge him in the future chapters, but...
Oh, okay.
So...
Cool.
So yeah, I've got my costume somewhat ready, and along with my savings, so I'll have plenty to purchase.
I guess I'll leave you all with the same clue I've given Rowan and Dan that my costume might be fitting with... I know it's not Bendy and the Ink Machine related, but the costume is mostly black and white. So we'll see how that goes. See if either of you can guess who I'm going as.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse.
No.
Well, it would be out there. So, I'm sort of running out of things to say here because next month is just going to be jam-packed full of stories and things to tell. So, I think we're going to have to leave it there. So, anything you want to close out with just before we end it off?
If we don't see you before then, see you at Comic Con potentially.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So, Rowan?
Same thing.
All right. So yeah, next month Comic Con and my birthday. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. So we'll see you guys next time. See you later.
Bye bye.
Yep.
See you after the plane flight. Oh!
Yep. See ya. You have been listening to The Fresh Air Show. Leave a comment down below or email Fresh Powder. See you next month for a whole new slew of content. I'm talking really fast right now because it's what they do at the end of the radio shows.